Hi, I'm Gina Sunderland, Food and Consumer Relations Specialist Dietitian with Manitoba Chicken Producers. Welcome to our Now You're Cooking with Manitoba Chicken class. We've got some really interesting topics that we're going to share with you today. We're going to start out by talking about food safety and especially tips that you need to know when you're cooking with chicken. Then we're going to share with you how you know your chicken is perfectly cooked. And we're going to talk about some great nutrition facts of why chicken is so good for you. And then I'm excited to take you through a couple great recipes in this booklet. And to finish off as a special treat, we're going to take you out to one of our Manitoba Chicken Producers farms. And we're going to have Rachel, one of our chicken farmers, share with you why she loves being a chicken farmer. She's going to take you right in the barn and share with you some industry facts. Now, if you'd like your own copy of Now You're Cooking with Manitoba Chicken Producers, you can get one off of our website, manitobachicken.ca. Go to our cooking school under resources, and you'll find a copy of this booklet you can download, or your teacher can order copies for all of you to have in your classroom. So we're going to share with you some key food safety tips, and I'm really happy to be joined here by my son.
Hi, I'm Joel Sunderland. So the first food safety tip is that you should always wash your hands before you do any cooking. And you should always wash your hands after you handle any raw chicken.
It's important to wash your hands for about 20 seconds with warm soapy water.
And another food safety tip is you should always use a plastic or glass cutting board with any raw chicken or any other raw meat. This makes it really easy to clean. You can just wash it with hot soapy water in the sink or throw it right in the dishwasher.
Exactly. Very important tip, Joel. And in our kitchen, we like to have two cutting boards. One that we always use for raw meats like chicken, and then another cutting board that we use for cutting things like our bread and our fruits and our vegetables. And that can be a wooden cutting board if you would like. It's so important to be clean when you're cooking to keep everything food safe. So we wash our boards, we wash our utensils, but
you never want to wash your chicken. That can spread things around your kitchen and have the droplets splash around and contaminate other things. So the best way to keep your chicken safe is to cook it properly. And we'll go over that in a moment.
Exactly. So you want to wash your hands, but not your chicken. Good point. So when we go shopping, we love chicken. We use it for a lot of different recipes. We often buy several packs of chicken, and some of those we freeze. It's really important to understand how to thaw that chicken properly.
So you should always thaw your chicken in the fridge and in a lipped pan so any of the juices don't come out. So thawing in the fridge is really important as it stops any bacteria from growing. So never thaw your chicken on the counter.
So once that chicken is cooked and you've enjoyed it, you want to make sure that you safely put away all the leftovers. And we like to recommend using a shallow container. Leftovers need to be put away within 2 hours, and by layering that chicken in a thin layer, it can cool down quickly in your fridge, and that helps to keep you and your family healthy and safe.
Now we're going to show you how you know your chicken is properly cooked.
Right, we're going to show you how to use our favorite kitchen tool, a meat thermometer. Here you go, Joel.
So for chicken parts like chicken breast, you want to insert it into the thickest part of the meat, and you want to get 165 Fahrenheit or 74 Celsius.
Perfect. And that is the temperature that you want for chicken that is skinless, boneless, or bone-in chicken, and for ground chicken if you're making something like chicken burgers. Now, if you're going to be roasting a whole chicken on the weekend, you want to again insert that meat thermometer probe into the thickest part of the breast meat, and it should read 180 degrees Fahrenheit or 82 degrees Celsius. So this is important because you do not want to undercook your chicken, but you also don't want to overcook your chicken and dry it out. So with a meat thermometer, you can make sure that your chicken is cooked perfectly every time. So not only is chicken delicious, and there are so many great recipes that you can make with it, and we're going to show you a few, it's also good for you. So some of the key nutrients that are in chicken, of course, are protein. And protein is so important for building healthy, strong muscles. In fact, protein is important for creating every single cell in your body. But did you know chicken is also loaded with a vitamin called vitamin B12 that is so important for having healthy red blood cells? And chicken's also an awesome source of other B vitamins that help our body use energy. And it's a great source of iron. It contains a special kind of iron called heme iron that helps protect us against developing anemia. Another key nutrient in chicken that many people aren't aware of is zinc. And when we have enough zinc in our diet, it helps us to have a healthy immune system and a great sense of taste and smell. So not only is chicken delicious, it's also really good for you.
The first recipe we're going to do is chicken hummus toasts. This is a really good way to use up leftover chicken.
And this is a really tasty open-faced sandwich. So Joel, how do we get started with this recipe?
So the first thing we do is we want to cover our toast in hummus.
All right, perfect. So with this, you can use any kind of bread that you like. We like to use a multi-grain bread. You just toast that bread. We've done that step for you. And now we're spreading on some delicious hummus. This is also a great source of protein. It's made from chickpeas. Thanks, Joel. Go in there. All right, that looks perfect. And you know what? It's so fun to just get in the kitchen, get messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. The next step is we have got something called arugula, and you can use that, or you can use baby spinach, or any other favorite green. And we just layer that right on the bread as much as you like, or as little as you like. And each ingredient just helps to build flavor with these delicious open-faced sandwiches. Okay, that looks great. And now the star ingredient is our roasted chicken. And a little tip is I love to roast chicken on a Sunday afternoon and then use it for all kinds of recipes for the next few days, to make sandwiches, wraps, to top salads, to make tacos and enchiladas. There's just so many things that you can do with chicken. And of course, we love to make these chicken hummus toasts. Well, that looks good. And now we're just gonna put some tomatoes on top. Perfect. I used cherry tomatoes here. These are Roma tomatoes. You can use whatever kind of tomatoes that you like. And then we've got an interesting last little ingredient here.
These are capers. They just add a little bit of flavor. They're kind of salty. They're a little bit like olives.
Right, like a little tiny olive. Just something new to try. It gives that little pop of flavor, and it makes them look really pretty too. So these make a great snack, a great lunch, or a quick meal. And there you go. You have your chicken and hummus toast. And of course, you can find this recipe in your Now You're Cooking with Manitoba Chicken booklet. So now we're excited to share with you our second recipe. It is our chicken cheeseburger pizza. And we love this recipe, of course, because it's delicious, but also because it combines two of our favorite foods, cheeseburgers and pizza. So the way you start this recipe, super simple, is you can buy already made pizza crust. Or, like Joel and I did, we used frozen bread dough and cooked our own pizza crust to begin with. And then the next step.
So we start with a pound of ground chicken, and we brown that with an onion and a clove of garlic.
Yep, so we did that step for you, and now the next step is?
So we're gonna add our tomato sauce right to the chicken.
So you can use a small can of pizza sauce or a small jar. And Joel's gonna mix that in there. So we like combining the sauce with the already browned, lean ground chicken because it just really distributes that flavor perfectly. And once Joel's got that mixed in, he's gonna add a little dash, about half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper for some extra flavor. There you go. Oh, that pizza sauce smells good, and so does the chicken. All right. Excellent job. Okay. So
now we'll just spread this around on the pizza.
Exactly.
So I'll let you do some of the spreading while I
Sure, I'll help you out there. Cooking is teamwork. I love ground chicken. It's something that we like to always have available in our freezer because it's versatile. You can do so many things with it. It's so nice and lean and flavorful and super easy to work with. That looks great. And now, of course, a pizza wouldn't be a pizza without cheese. And this pizza has two kinds of cheese. Of course, we've got our cheddar cheese, in keeping with a traditional cheeseburger. And we've also got our pizza mozzarella. So once we've got that cheese spread nice and evenly on top, it's about a cup of each type of cheese. We just pop this pizza in the oven at 400 degrees, and it is ready in about 8 minutes. The cheese just needs to get nice and bubbly, and a lot of times we'll serve this with shredded lettuce and tomato and other favorite cheeseburger toppings, and it's just that simple. We hope you enjoy this recipe. So Joel and I are gonna get this chicken cheeseburger pizza in the oven, and while it's baking, we are gonna take you over to Rachel's chicken farm.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm super excited today to tell you all about chicken farming and give you a tour of my chicken barn. Just like 97% of farms here in Manitoba, ours is family owned and operated. I am the third generation to work on our family grain farm and chicken farm. I currently work with my parents and my 2 brothers. So as you can see behind me, these 2 bins is where we store our chicken feed. So as you can see at the bottom, there is a pipe that goes from below the bins all the way into the barn. So we're really lucky here in Manitoba to be able to raise birds all year round. And one of the reasons why we're able to do that is because we raise them inside a barn. Now there's 3 major reasons why we're able to do that. One of them being temperature. As you can see, there's snow on the ground here and it's too cold for the birds to be outside. Inside the barn, it's nice and warm. A second reason why we're able to raise them indoors, or why we raise them indoors, is for predators. Coyotes, wolves, foxes, all those kind of animals are predators to chickens. So keeping them in a barn keeps them safe from those animals. And the third reason why we keep them indoors is we want our birds to be healthy when we raise them. And so keeping them indoors, we can take measures such as biosecurity to prevent any disease from coming inside the barn. All right, now I want to take you inside to see my 3-day-old chicks. Come on in. Alright, so these are the controllers that pretty much run the entire barn. These controllers, with technology now, we are able to monitor way more things than we ever have been. So some of the things that we have on here is we have sensors throughout the entire barn that give us the temperature at all parts of the barn. So we always know that the barn temperature is consistent throughout the entire barn. These controllers also monitor humidity in the barn, how high it gets, how low it gets. We are able to lower the temperature automatically. As the birds get older, the barn needs to be cooler, so these controllers can automatically bring those temperatures down. Another thing that's really great about these controllers is for lighting programs, we have dark periods overnight so that the birds have time to rest. So these controllers gradually bring the lighting down until it's dark, and then raise it back up when it's time for them to get up in the morning. And the great thing about these things is they can call our cell phones. If there's a problem, we're able to check the barn with this controller whenever we need to. So now we're gonna go into the barn, but first, the big important thing we gotta do is change our boots and sanitize our hands. All right, guys, you ready to go in? Here we go. As you can see, we are now inside the chicken barn, and it's nice and warm in here, and these are just one of the things I love. I love coming into the barn here and checking on the birds every day, multiple times. Growing up on the farm here, wasn't always a fan of working in the barn because it required me to go and do chores every single day. So grade 4 to grade 5, not always a fan, but as I grew up through junior high and through high school, I was learning to love it more and enjoyed it way more. And after grade 12, I actually took a year off because I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with my career and my future, and so I worked full-time here on the farm. So I was working here in the chicken barns, but I was also working in the fields, driving tractor, and just doing a whole lot more stuff on the farm. And that caused me to actually decide to go to university at the U of M to the Ag Diploma program, and where I got my diploma in agriculture. So as you can see here now, I'm going to tell you more about what's going on here in the barn. So what we have here on the ground is bedding, and this bedding is actually wheat straw. Wheat straw that we harvested off of our fields, and it's pretty much the stalk of the wheat plant. So what happens is when we harvest it, the stalks of the plant get all chopped up, and we bale them and bring them here into the barn to use as bedding for the birds. It's a great bedding, the birds find it very comfortable, and they're able to act out their natural behaviors such as dust bathing and just peck around in the straw. So as you can see behind me, the chickens are able to run anywhere and everywhere throughout the barn. We call this free run. And so there's no cages in any Manitoba broiler farms or actually across the entire country. We're all cage-free for broiler chicken operations. Now, they have access to feed and water all the time, because you can see that the water lines and the feeder lines go all the way to the back end of the barn. Now, I have right beside me, it's a little easier to see, these are the water lines, okay? So this is how the chickens get their water. And how it works is there's these little silver tabs underneath here, we call these water nipples. And what happens is when the chicken pecks at that silver nipple, because it's shiny and chickens are curious little animals, they peck at that silver tab and it allows fresh water to come out of the tap. They stop pecking at it, the water stops. And what's great about these water systems is that they're all enclosed. So there's no debris, there's no dust or any bacteria that can get into the system. So they always are able to drink clean, fresh water all the time. Now, the one right beside it here is the feed pans. Now, what we have underneath the feed pans is chick paper. Now, we put chick paper down when they're young because it attracts the chicks to where the feed is. Now, when the chicks run on this paper, it makes noise, and the chicks like the sound of that noise, so it attracts them to this. We also put extra feed on the paper so that they have nowhere to come for the feed. Now, inside the feed pan here is where the feed actually is. And in this pipe right here is an auger. So an auger is pretty much a coil that turns and moves the feed through the pipe and puts it into every single feed pan. So a common question that we do get is, what do chickens eat? So here is a sample of what the birds actually eat. It is filled with grains, minerals, proteins, and vitamins to give them a healthy, nutritious diet. So a common misconception that we often do get is, are there hormones and steroids put inside the chicken feed? That is absolutely false. Since the 1960s, hormones and steroids have been illegal to be given to broiler chickens. So it's only good, nutritious feed that is given to our broilers. So these birds are currently 3 days old, and they'll be ready for market in about 28 to 33 days. Now you might be wondering, well, that's pretty quick. Well, there's a number of reasons why they're able to grow so quickly. One, the genetic makeup of the bird. The second one is the feed, what I talked about before. Healthy, nutritious feed helps them grow quickly. And the last thing that helps them grow quickly is just us taking care of them and managing them and walking through the barns daily and multiple times to make sure everything is running really smoothly. Now, once they've hit their target weight or their markets, then they get taken out of the barn, and then we're left with a dirty barn. Now, this bedding is then called litter or manure, what we call it. And the manure is then taken out with a tractor, and we actually spread it on our fields, which is a great source of fertilizer, and that we can use for plant food for our grain crops. Now, once the manure is taken out of the barn, then we take a pressure washer, we wash the barn completely to make sure it's all clean of any organic matter or debris, so that it's nice and clean for the next flock of chickens that come. Thanks so much for joining me on this tour of my chicken barn. I am super proud to be a part of an industry that can provide healthy local chicken for your family and for my family all year round.
So thanks for watching our class. We hope you enjoyed learning how to make a couple delicious Manitoba chicken recipes and that you enjoyed having a tour of Rachel's chicken farm. So now you're cooking with Manitoba chicken.